Hello students, I am Renu Matthew, Assistant Professor, MC Department, IISM Pune. Today we will see what is software testing and why is it necessary to perform software testing. Have you ever come across these scenarios in life? You have seen a chef tasting the food prepared before serving it. Vehicles are thoroughly checked before being launched in the market. We always scribble a pen, right? Before making a decision to buy. You might have seen a basketball player dribbling the ball to check the air pressure. What have all these people done? It's nothing but testing. So we all have performed testing at some point in our lives. So the topic testing is not new to us. So let us learn what testing is to the software world. According to the ANSI IEEE standard, software testing is a process of analyzing a software item to detect differences between existing and required conditions. Here, required conditions means the expected result from the system and existing condition means the actual result generated from the application. When we develop an application, we define the expected or desired results for the right inputs given to the system. Let's take an example of calculator as an application with the capability of just addition. Let's suppose we have given 12 and 20 as the inputs for addition. Here the expected result will be 32. If the functionality is not properly built in, the application may generate a different answer which we call as the actual result, and it will be different from the expected or the desired result. And in this case we say that the system failed or that there is a failure. So software testing aims at detection of failures that indicate presence of defects in the system. It helps in identifying the defects in the system during the debugging process. I hope you all are familiar with the term debugging, which you have performed most of the times while executing a piece of code or a project. Debugging is a task of localizing and correcting faults. It involves identification, isolation, and fixing of problems or bugs or defects. It is developers who code the software conduct debugging upon encountering an error in the code. So it is the developers who perform debugging. Testers only identify failures. Now let us discuss why there is a need for testing. Today's world of technology is completely dominated by machines, and its behavior is controlled by the software powering it. Will the machines behave exactly how we want them every time, everywhere? The answer is not always. Human beings are not perfect, so the software built by them will be imperfect. It's always good to have a shift to left approach in software development. Testing essentially helps you save time and money in the long run because issues are resolved before bigger problems occur. In the end, if product works 100% as it should, no potential damage is done to the business also cost-wise. Another important point to add is security. How testing can help your product security? If the product is secured, the user will get a trustworthy product. It keeps users' personal information and data safe. It ensures vulnerability-free product. And the product problems are eliminated beforehand. So it saves a lot of troubles later on. Software testing helps in determining the quality level of a software developed. Products always serves users in many ways, so it is very important that it brings the value it promises. Hence, it should work properly to ensure great customer experience. Development of an app, for example, has many processes included and testing gets a glimpse of every bit. It checks if the app's graphics are aligned properly, tests the main functionality, checks if menus are intuitive, so on and so forth. Device compatibility is also checked for the product. For example, an app's compatibility on many devices and operating system will be tested. It is done with the help of tools available to cover as many testing scenarios as possible. From these, we can conclude that the objectives of software testing are identification of failures during test execution that leads to the discovery of the underlying defects, gaining confidence in the level of quality, and preventing defects as testing effort starts in the early phase of software development, which prevents defects escaping to the later phases of development. Now let's see what is the role and effect of testing on the quality of a product. Will testing improve the quality of a software? Let us first define what is quality. Quality is the degree to which a system or a component or a process meets its specified requirements and or customer needs and expectations. When we are developing an application or a system, it should meet the customer's stated requirements and expectations as well. Let's consider an analogy to understand this. Imagine that you are visiting a tailor for stitching a white shirt. What the tailor will ask is maybe about the pattern preferences, how the collar of the shirt should be, what should be the length of the sleeves, shirt's length and breadth, so on and so forth. Now let's imagine that you collected the shirt after a week's time and observed that for stitching the shirt, the tailor has used a red color thread. Will you accept that white shirt? May not, as you did not perceive it so. Though it was not specifically told by the customer to use a white thread, the customer perceived that the tailor will use white thread. So when we talk about quality, two aspects need to be touched upon: stated features and perceived features. Similarly, in order to confirm a software as a quality product, it should meet all the customer requirements and expectations. This stands true about the quality of any software being developed. If the process of making tea is not correct, we will end up with a tea that will not taste good. It means the end result of good processes will be a good product and vice versa. That is, poor process of software development ends up in poor quality software. In order to ensure that the software quality is up to the mark, we have software development standards. Now, what is software quality assurance? Software quality assurance is simply a way to assure quality in the software. It is a set of activities designed to ensure that the process of development and maintenance is effective enough to ensure that a system will meet its objectives. In general, QA activities make sure that the development process is defined and appropriate for the needs of the organization. Whereas quality control is a set of activities that evaluates a developed product. It is focused on finding defects in deliverables and correcting them. When QC is carried out, it verifies that developed software meets the set requirements and specifications. In short, we can say that quality assurance is aimed to avoid a defect, whereas quality control is aimed to identify and fix the defects. We can summarize that QA is a process-oriented activity which focuses on defect prevention. For example, QA activities can be audit for the application or the system and user training. QC is a product-oriented activity which focuses on defect detection and correction. For example, review activity which is performed in each phase of software development and the testing. So we can say that testing is a subset of QC and QC is a subset of QA. Let us compare and contrast quality assurance, quality control, and software testing. QA includes activities that ensure the implementation of processes, procedures, and standards in context to verification of developed software and intended requirements, whereas QC includes activities that ensures the verification of a developed software with respect to documented requirements. Software testing includes activities that ensure identification of defects in a software. QA focuses on processes and procedures rather than conducting actual testing of the system, whereas QC and testing focuses on actual testing by executing the software. QA is a process-oriented activity, whereas QC and testing are product-oriented activities. QC includes corrective processes, QA includes preventive activities, and testing includes preventive process, as through testing we try to avoid customer encountering failures in operation. QA is a subset of software testing lifecycle, where QC is considered as a subset of quality assurance and testing is a subset of quality control. So now let us again consider the question, will testing improve the quality of the software? Testing efforts includes testing system function, correctness of operation, and non-functional qualities like reliability, usability, security, maintainability, etc. It shows failures which indicates the presence of defects in a system. Where there are defects, there are risks of failure. Nothing can reduce the level of risk to zero. We certainly can and should try to reduce risk to acceptable level prior to releasing the software to customers and users. And testing helps in this. When a properly designed test is run, an unknown situation is changed to a known situation, which reduces the level of risk. Testing does not directly change the quality of the system under test. When testing finds defects and those defects are repaired, the quality of the software is increased. Thus, debugging, not testing, is an activity that changes the quality of the system. But testing does provide a way of measuring the software's quality. The rate of defect discovery, the number of defects, the extent of testing coverage, and the percentage of tests which are passed all reflect the quality of the system. Testing also provides a learning opportunity. If root cause analysis is carried out for each defect found on each project, the team can improve its software development processes to avoid the introduction of similar defects in future systems. Thus, testing plays an essential supporting role in delivering quality software.